Thank you for staying with us.
At different workplaces, people know one another by faces or names. But there is one profession where you may not be known by your name or face, but by your voice. The moment you speak, people suddenly jump up and recognize you and feel happy to be with you. Such voices start right in the morning saying, "Good morning, Chennai, you are listening to," and continue till midnight. These voices have become so famous that they have become household names as well.
The radio boom that was seen in the form of transformation from AM channels to FM channels witnessed a new industry rising. All of us are well acquainted with Rishikesh Khannan. His voice became a household name when the first ever FM radio show happened on August 15, 1993. The opening up for the airwaves, the private sector saw the surge in radio programs and consequently the need for professional and well-trained RJs.
The radio jockey acts as a brand ambassador of the FM channels, and it is a performance of these radio jockeys that makes or mars the radio station. This FM boom has thrown open a number of avenues and opportunities to young, energetic and enthusiastic ones who have an ear for music and a passion to entertain.
It is exciting, interesting and definitely the next big thing as far as upcoming careers are concerned for the students. And considering that it's a profession that's got name, fame, music, creative flexibility, public interaction and scope to earn big bucks, it's not surprising that so many dream to tread this career path.
And to discuss more about the art of radio jockeying, we have in our studios right here well-known RJ and a well-known voice in Chennai, Niladari Bose, and Deva, who is an RJ with the leading radio station, Radio Mirchi, who has also been a student of Niladari. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Niladari, first let's start with you. Tell us about radio jockeying as a career.
As a career?
Yes.
For the ones out there, it's a great profession to get into. It was a vocation a few years back. Today, it's a profession. It gives you, it gives you good bucks. It gives you, there's so much of nobility in the profession. Everything comes from your throat, and it's very exciting to be a radio professional. You must be aware that, there are skill sets that need to be inherent in that person. I think it's from there that one can take it.
So Deva, can you tell us your story? How did you get into this profession?
I was actually in human resources. I worked with a software company. I was into soft skills training. But then I read an article in the newspaper that said there's going to be a radio workshop, and he also spoke about, it was Niladari's workshop, and it also spoke about voiceovers. I was more interested in that, so that's when I got in touch with him and joined the workshop. But then I didn't actually believe that I had the skill sets required to be an RJ, but somehow he was convinced and I went with his gut, and that's what brought me here.
So is formal training required to become an RJ?
See, radio is something that has to come from within. We cannot really teach somebody. As I said, it's like cooking, we can show you how to do it. But at the end of it, it's what's there within you. You need to have that flair. You need to have, you need to be able to communicate properly. You need to understand that you've got 5 seconds to make an impact, yes. Before which the listener, tunes on to the next channel. Yes. So yeah, it's around there.
Okay. So now both of you can answer to this question. How important is voice in this profession?
You want to go first?
The voice is definitely very, very important, but that's not the only thing that is important. Of course, you need to be able to communicate. You need to be, as a radio person, you interact with a lot of people. So I'm assuming being friendly and being approachable, that definitely helps. And I'm sure there's a lot more that Niladari will add to this.
Voice, I don't think is important. It's just a bonus. At the end of it, if Sachin Tendulkar was to speak on radio, he might not have the best voice in the country, but you'd still listen to him. Yes. It's the personality, yes, which is very important. So I don't think voice is at all of any importance in radio. It's the way you communicate. It's how you are one of the crowd. You're one of the listeners. You have to identify yourself. You need to cut through that and not feel that I am an RJ and therefore I am what I am. You have to put your foot on the ground and speak to your listener, be it a Tamil listener, be it an English listener, Hindi, whatever. So it's very important to get that aspect right. If you have a voice, it's just a bonus.
Now, in terms of qualification, for someone who's passed out of class 12,
right,
is there any qualification or any quality that he or she needs to have to become an RJ?
Not necessarily. I don't think so. As I said, just a flair and understanding for music, an extrovert in the mind. You might be an introvert by person, that's absolutely okay, but as long as the mind is aware and, it's out there, I don't think that there's anything which is, there's any particular
There is no
benchmark.
educational qualification, there is a requirement, but then, each radio station may have a policy on, whether they want to employ graduates or whether they're open to taking people who are just out of school. But then, the number of years you put in definitely makes a difference. Whether if you have some kind of a college background, then you're used to meeting a lot of people. So that kind of way definitely helps.
For the guys, I would say that don't get into radio after 12th standard. Do your degree, your basic degree. Also, voices change. Some people, crack their voices a little later on. So come in when all the changes are over, and then take it. So start off, touch and feel the medium, and you're surely going to like it and get addicted. You were on a guest show of mine, so so you know how it feels when you hear your voice on the radio.
Now, in terms of, apart from the education, when you become an RJ, you obviously need to know a lot. So how does a person keep himself equipped with all that knowledge? What does he or she need to do?
See, I don't think it's, radio is not rocket science, but you need to read the newspaper. You need to read the newspaper, you need to watch NDTV, you need to,
NDTV Hindu.
NDTV Hindu, you need to be aware, you need to check the net, you need to just constantly be aware of all the changes that are happening, not only in the world, but in your city, because that's where you're going to be communicating at the end. It's good to say that, Brazil won the World Cup, but it's also good to say that there's a particular university in Chennai that won the volleyball tournament. So, that's where you stand apart, or you come forward as a radio presenter.
Okay, so apart from radio stations, where does other people like this trained in this profession can look for a job?
You have voiceovers that you could do. I mean, you could do voiceovers for ads, for corporate films and things like that. Even within the radio industry, you could decide to be a producer, you could maybe turn out to be a copywriter. You could branch out into different things depending on what your interest is.
What are your interests?
Yes.
Niladari, you've been conducting many workshops for RJs. What exactly do you train them on?
See, what I try to do with the help of my guest lectures, like we've had Mr. P.C. Ramakrishna, we've had Nikhil Chinnappa, we've had Maddie in the past who've come and helped out. What we try to do is not only talk to them or teach them or show them what radio is all about, we try to get them, media oriented, because it's very important that they know, all fields of media, because at the end, you're going to be talking either to a director or a doctor or a politician. So, and apart from that, we teach them promo production, presentation skills, voice modulation. We've got a whole bunch of things that happen in 5 days. This was basically an idea when I did film school abroad. I just thought, let me do the same thing what they taught me over there, but we've truncated it because of the lack of time and, of course, the time of the lecturers who come in. Because we have it, and in the past we've been concentrating on radio stations around the country, training them more than the public.
Okay, so being an RJ, what is the biggest challenge that you face every day and how do you overcome?